The All-City Jazz Band, everybody. All-City Jazz. Under the direction of Professor Rob Tapper. The All-City Jazz Band is in its second year. There are 38 middle and high school musicians in 4 groups that rehearse once a week with Professor Tapper. These groups have performed at the Buddy DeFranco Jazz Festival, the UM Jazz Program, and at community events. And they also have summer workshops in such places as Helena, Livingston, Moses Lake, Richland, Washington, and in Missoula. And Missoula's jazz workshop in the summer will be July 29th to the 31st. So if you know anyone who's in the middle and high school who might be interested in one of those, All-City Jazz. They're on our website at artsmissoula.org. So let's have another hand for them. Thanks very much for showing up. And welcome to our awards lunch this year. Continue to eat, and don't forget the cookies for dessert. I want to start by thanking a bunch of folks. First of all, I want to thank the Doubletree, Dan Monahan and Jessica Northam and the staff. They always do a great job, and I think they've done a great job again this year. So thanks to the Doubletree. I also want to thank our presenting sponsor this year, Logjam Presents. Thank you, Logjam. And also our event sponsors, First Security Bank and Campbell & Associates. Now, it's worth noting that Campbell & Associates is a CPA firm, and this is kind of a tough week for them to come out for lunch, but they are supportive of the arts in Missoula, so that's great to know. Also, want to thank some... make sure that you sign up for the door prizes. I don't know if you saw those when you walked in. We have 2 door prizes we're going to be picking at the end of the event today. One is a crate of wine, and the other is a box of tea from Lake Missoula Tea. So make sure you fill out the forms. If you haven't already, there should be some extras on the table, and we will have some of our board members wandering through with the box right now and maybe at a couple other times during the lunch. I want to recognize a few officials here. We have Sharon Parks Banda from Senator Dane's office is here with us today. Thanks very much. Missoula County Commissioner Dave Strohmeyer is here. Dave, there he is, back there. And we have some representatives of City Council, Heidi West, Gwen Jones, Jordan Hess, and Heather Harp. They're all here today. The City Council, very supportive. Ginny Merriam should be here. If not, if she isn't already, she will be showing up soon, as will, I believe, Kristen Hahn-Burgoyne from the Montana Arts Council. Is Kristen here? There's Kristen. Thank you. You made it through the tough weather. It's a glorious day to be inside today, so thank you very much for coming out on this snowy April day. I want to also thank the Arts Missoula Board of Directors. They're all here. They're here in force. I want to acknowledge them. If you guys could all stand. If you're around, Heidi Sterrett is our president. Melissa, all right. Melissa Blunt is our awards committee chair. We also have Katie Patton, Laura Bovard, Mickey Fredrickson, John Combs, Robin Chakota, Jeremy Canwell, Scott Woodall, Jake Krylik, and John Cowsbeak, and I believe they're all here today. 100%. 100%. Thanks also to Advanced Litho Printing for donating the programs that you see in front of your seats today. Thanks to Advanced Litho. Thanks to Jonathan Qualbin, who's our photographer year after year. Thank you, Jonathan. And your table decorations this year are made by students at Zach. They made the vases as well as the interior, the flowers. They did that together. I believe there's information on your table about how they went about this, sort of mixing art and nature together by creating the vase and then going out and picking the flowers to fill that. So thanks to the Zach for doing that. Thanks to Missoula Community Access Television. This will appear on one of MCAT's programs in the near future. I also want to acknowledge the Arts Missoula staff. Matt Anglin is our program director, and he was at the door when you walked in. Check him in. Thank you to Matt. Thanks to Sienna Solberg, who's the director of Spark. And thanks to Udo Fluke, who's the director of Global and Cultural Affairs. Thanks to one of the best staffs at any organization around here. Thank you. So I want to, hold on just a sec. This is my watch. There we go. It's time for another year in review. Once again, it has been a great year for the development of arts and culture in Missoula. So I begin with a map, something that's some people may not find all that artistic or inspiring, but I want to show a map of that is from Southern Methodist University, has a think tank called the National Council for Arts Research that they house there, and every year they publish an annual Arts Vibrancy report. So you might wonder, what exactly is arts vibrancy? Well, arts vibrancy is kind of a matrix. It's a mix of what a community has in terms of venues, in terms of opportunities, in terms of organizations, in terms of artists, in terms of donors, in terms of all the things that go into what make art and culture happen. And every year they, I think right now they're up to about 1,000 cities that they survey, and this is all information you can find. It's all public information. And then they all crunch all those numbers and they come out with an arts vibrancy, and Missoula is in the top 40 of those 1,000 communities in the country. You look at this map and you can say, okay, that you look at the Northeast, that's where most of the people are in this country, and so it's obvious that that's where a lot of the arts vibrancy communities are. And then you can recognize the 4 major urban centers on the West Coast, and you look around, you say, okay, there's Nashville, and there's Austin, there's New Orleans. Oh, yeah, okay. And then it's kind of interesting to see kind of a line right down the Rocky Mountains. So the Rocky Mountains, which is known for outdoors, is also known for their community arts. And it looks at, 5 or 6 of the top 40 are in the Rocky Mountain range. That's nice to see. Why is this important? Because a community with a strong arts component attracts visitors, tourists, those wanting to relocate, and those who want to relocate then buy homes, pay taxes, send their children to schools, and contribute to the economy in many ways. So that's why arts vibrancy is important to any community. And Missoula has responded. There's a lot of building going on. There are new hotels. The Merrill has just opened. If you haven't been in the interior of the Merrill, you ought to go there. It's a great display of art in the new hotel downtown. We have the downtown master plan going through its update. And all that is making Missoula much more of an attractive town, and part of that is the strength of the arts. 2018 saw a lot of major acts in now what are 5 major entertainment venues that seat 4,000 or more in this town. Many of us were at Washington Grizzly Stadium when Pearl Jam was performing there last fall. But we have Washington Grizzly Stadium, the Adams Center, Kettle House, Amphitheater, the Big Sky Brewing Amphitheater, and the Osprey Stadium. That's 5 places where live entertainment, international and national acts, are touring regularly in Missoula. Add to all this the Wilma Theater, the Top Hat, all the venues at the University of Montana, MCT Center for the Performing Arts, Downtown Dance Collective, the Roxy Theater, and a lot of smaller places that you may or may not have heard of. There's the Loft, there's Daily Jazz, there's Longstaff House, Wave and Circuit, all the brew pubs and distilleries and wineries. there's no wonder that Destination Missoula this year featured music on their visitor's guide. So that's good to see. In addition to all the performing arts, don't forget we have 12+ art galleries, and the Missoula, plus the two major museums. I want to acknowledge the Missoula Art Museum for the highest ever proceeds in an auction this past year. Congratulations to the Missoula Art Museum. We're also in a time of transition in the Missoula arts community. There's new leadership at the Montana Museum of Art and Culture, the College of Visual and Performing Arts, the Montana Repertory Theater, and Missoula Symphony. Don't forget, this last weekend is the last weekend that DARCA will be conducting the Missoula Symphony. There may not be any tickets left, so it might have been sort of redundant for me to say that, but a few on Saturday. There you go. So lots of transition going on in the arts community as well. And Zach is moving downtown. They're in the midst of renovating the Studebaker building right now, and there will be studios, galleries, classrooms, a black box theater, and the offices of Arts Missoula will be moving into the Zach building as well, coming this fall. So we're really excited about that. And now on to what happened in Arts Missoula. First Night Missoula this year celebrated its 25th anniversary. That's 25 years where we had 80 or so events in a 12-hour span from noon till midnight on New Year's Eve. The program director for many years has been Matt Anglin at Arts Missoula. He has responded to the fact that over 25 years things have to change, so we have some changes in programming. While we keep many of the things that you all rely on as part of the New Year's Eve tradition. And actually this year we saw an increase in attendance, which is great to know as other first nights around the country are dropping off the radar. There used to be over 200 communities around the nation that participated in First Night, and now I think there are about 35 or so. So it's a testament to Missoula that we can still compete in this way. Spark, Arts Ignite Learning, is in its 5th year with Sienna Solberg as our director. This is the Kennedy Center Any Given Child initiative, and we are one of about 25 communities around the country that participate in this national initiative to ensure equity and access in arts education. Spark is an example of what's called now collective impact with the City of Missoula, Missoula County Public Schools, the College of Visual and Performing Arts, arts organizations, artists, media, philanthropy, all pushing this initiative forward. And this is housed at Arts Missoula. Some of the numbers for this year: we have 38 local teaching artists on the payroll. We have 82 residencies have happened or are scheduled in visual art, drama, theater, dance, music, media arts, creative movement, creative writing, storytelling, all to teach science, math, English as a second language, PE, world languages, and social studies. We're in 273 classrooms, 1,146 hours of instruction, and we serve all 5,445 K through 8 students at Missoula County Public Schools. That's what Spark's done. So thank you to Spark. We've also instituted something called the Arts Missoula Star. And since September of 2017, we have recognized every month another of the often unsung heroes of our arts community. And these are people that we feel need recognition for what they have done and what they continue to do. And many of them are with us today. I hope I recognize all of you. Patricia Thornton, Gary Gillette, Rosie Ayers, Ron Wilcott, Marlene Hendrickson, Carl Smart, Liddy Elrod, Joe Martinez, and Peter McKenzie. Why don't you guys all stand up and be recognized one more time? This is the 3rd year that Arts Missoula has partnered with the City of Missoula to provide much-needed administrative assistance for the citizen-led Public Art Committee. Public art is an asset to any community, even when it causes some consternation among some of its citizens. That's essential to public art, is the discussion, is the public discourse. And we're very happy to be part of that, and we look forward to seeing more public art pieces as in the future. We are also serving as fiscal sponsors for various organizations that need a nonprofit umbrella. And we have allowed these organizations to thrive. You just heard All City Jazz today. If you haven't seen any or been to any Lake Bottom Sound events, that's worth going to. And the Montana Book Festival is continuing, I think, for over 20 years in Missoula, and we've been the fiscal sponsor for the last few years. But the biggest change is our newest program at Arts Missoula, and this expands our education focus, not just education for kids in schools, but education for all of us. This is our Global and Cultural Affairs, and Udo Fluke is our director. As we as I said, this is another partnership with the city of Missoula, and as we become more of an international city, because there are international businesses moving to town, there are refugees from war-torn countries, and as that continues, we need to look beyond our local borders and beyond our blinders and see that we are an international city. With Udo's experience and expertise, we offer intercultural competency trainings for schools, city and county employees, businesses. He's scheduled over 170 school seminars at MCPS this year, 170. And he's starting trainings with city employees this May, and he's expanded the work with our sister city partnerships. We also have expanded some community outreach in global and cultural affairs. One is our virtual gallery that's on our website. This is the idea is to export this to our global partners. This right now it features the work of Courtney Blazon in her Year Without a Summer, which refers to a natural disaster that occurred in the 19th century and affected communities all over the world. And it's easy to see. It's right on our website. We also have the Worldview Film Series, which is a free film series at the Roxy Theater once a month. And it's with a central artistic theme, but from a different country. It's free at the Roxy, thanks to the sponsorship of many members of our community, and it's on the third Monday of the month. So that means this April 22nd, you can go to the Roxy for free and see Paul Simon's Under African Skies, if you want to hear some good music. But also remember that when he released the album Graceland, he was under great political and economic and social pressure because he was working with South African musicians. But without that, we never would have known of Ladysmith Block Mambazo, for instance. So that's worth a sight there. We also have improved our sister city programs, and we've had delegation visits with both of our sister cities. We visited Neckargemund in June, which celebrated the 25th anniversary of that sister city partnership, and which has focused on student and cultural exchange. It was highlighted by the performance of music professor Stephen Hessla, who had spent time during the delegation visiting and teaching students at their music school. In concert, he impressed the German audience with his mastery of Mozart and Beethoven, along with Duke Ellington and Cole Porter. And here we are with the Bürgermeister, the mayor of Neckargemund, Frank Volk, and Jerry Fetz, and myself and Stephen. We have renewed energy with our partnership with Palmerston North, New Zealand. And a delegation visited here in October, and that included Mayor Grant Smith, Rongadangi Chief Wiramu Teaweawe, his wife Trieste, who is a tribal judge, and Massey University Professor Hone Morris. Missoula returned that exchange with a 14-member delegation that returned less than 2 weeks ago. And many of them are with us today. We have Jordan Hess and Heather Harp from City Council. Former President Sheila Stearns was with us. Brigitte Miranda Freer was with us, plus 5 members of Montana's Native American community, some of whom perform traditional drumming and dancing, and one member created a public art piece in Palmerston North during the visit. And they're with us right here. It's Willow Kip and Michelle Guzman, Willie Brown, Heather Hart, and Jordan Hess. We were welcomed onto the marae. That is the traditional Rongatangi homeland for the opening evening with a traditional welcoming and ceremony and a hangi, meal and entertainment. We participated in the New Zealand Sister Cities Conference, featuring representatives from cities and towns all over New Zealand. Also there for the same week was another sister city of Palmerston North, Mihara, Japan, presenting even more opportunities for exchanges. We participated in the annual Festival of Cultures, highlighting the over 100 distinct languages spoken in Palmerston North. Over 100 languages spoken in that city. And it opened with a performance by Shaun White, Whitegrass, Michelle Guzman, and Willow Kip. There were meetings between city councilors, UM and Massey University officials, art and business leaders, and members of the respective indigenous communities, all of them making plans for an ongoing programs and exchange. All of this occurred, you might note, in the backdrop of the horrendous events that occurred in Christchurch just a few days before this conference began. Made it all the more emotional and necessary to promote citizen diplomacy and cultural understanding. One of the highlights was a public art piece created by Willow Kip called Horse Coup, created in 2 days with the assistance of local artists and in collaboration with Maori artists. So we have a Missoula native public art piece in our sister city on the other side of the world right now. It's a wonderful, wonderful thing. You ought to go check it out if you're there in Palmerston North. Another one of our highlights was a visit to a local elementary school where students there, we had a Skype session with students of Lewis and Clark and Franklin schools. So there was a split screen of Lewis and Clark and Franklin schools, and they were chatting with their students in Palmerston North, asking questions about what they did in their free time and what their school was like. And remember that it was Friday at 9 a.m. in Palmerston North, and at that moment it was Thursday at 1 in the afternoon in Missoula. I still can't figure that out. But the Sister City mission is one of citizen diplomacy, promoting peace and mutual respect one individual at a time. It began over 60 years ago with President Eisenhower's People-to-People program. I always thought that this was his idea, and therefore it was our idea. But throughout our stay in Palmerston North, we heard again and again an old Maori proverb that clearly predates Eisenhower or the Sister Cities idea. And I share it with you now. He aha te mea nui o te ao. He tangata, he tangata, he tangata. Need a translation? What is the most important thing in the world? It is the people. It is the people. It is the people. We continue to have a lot to learn from our global friends. So that's a very quick run-through of what we've been through this year. It's a very exciting office and a very exciting time to be involved in the arts in Missoula. If you want to learn more, you can visit our website, artsmissoula.org, and sign up for our weekly newsletter, which is chock full of good information and interesting articles. These are all things to celebrate, and as I said, we have a great staff and board of directors and volunteer committees working with us in these programs and a great arts community. And before I move on, if you haven't signed the little form, if you want to participate in getting a door prize, now's a good time to do it, and I believe some board members will be wandering around. There we go. Thanks, Laura. If you want to enter in for that door prize, do so now. Thanks very much. So it's time to shift gears while they're doing that. For the big reason that we're here today, this tradition that we are doing today of honoring individuals and businesses for their contribution to the arts dates back to 1999. It was 20 years ago today, with the Cultural Achievement Award as a way of honoring individuals whose outstanding work in the arts and humanities have made significant contributions to this community's quality of life. In 2003, we began recognizing local businesses with the Business Support for the Arts Award. In 2010, we expanded our awards program to include artistic programming and cultural visionaries. And a year later, we added awards for individual artist and arts educator. This year we changed the name of Cultural Achievement to Cultural Ambassador, that as we expand the scope, as we focus more on global programming. The nominations are open to the public. That's you. And the awardees are chosen by a vote of the Arts Missoula Board of Directors. The list of awardees over the years includes artists, visual artists, musicians, dancers, writers, actors, administrators, benefactors, community leaders. It's a long list, and I can't read it right now, but it's on the back of your program. Take a minute to look at those. Today we recognize 5 more people, and we'll add those to the list. The Arts Educator Award was first awarded in 2011 and honors an outstanding educator for any age level who has devoted a career to teaching a craft and making a significant impact on the arts community. That's Facebook for you. Matt Loehrke, Education Director for the Missoula Children's Theater, and he was nominated by Beth Berman-Frazee. Matt holds a BA in Theater Arts from Linfield College and is currently working on his MA in Theater Education from the University of Northern Colorado. Before settling down in Missoula, Matt spent 3 years as a teacher and outreach coordinator at the Northwest Children's Theater and School in Portland, Oregon, and spent a season at the Seattle Repertory Theater interning with their education department. He's been with MCT for 11 years. 4 of those were spent on the road at MCT's international tour as he traveled to 40 states in 5 countries before joining the home staff in 2012. When asked what Matt loves most about teaching theater to kids of all ages, he said the aha moment, when he can see it clicking for the kids, the creativity, the installation of responsibility, but mainly the fun. Those are his words. In the last 3 years, he has grown the number of local kids at MCT that MCT serves through the education programs over 200%. And with local performances of Androcles and the Lion, The Secret Garden, Johnny Appleseed, and many others for youth of all ages. Plus, he has conducted a series of Play in a Day events, day-long theater camps that incorporate acting, dancing, and craft making, culminating in an informal performance. All of that happens in a day. He's conducted Spanish immersion plays for the Missoula International School and Paxson Elementary, and most recently he's partnered with the Fourth Wall Theater Company of Detroit to expand special education programs for the tour. As education director, Matt has traveled as a cultural ambassador for MCT to the Chinese National Theater National Children's Theater in Beijing, as well as to arts organizations in Cambodia, the latter through the Professional Fellows Program through the U.S. State Department. In Missoula, he's increased opportunities both at MCT and through the Missoula community by providing increased classes and performances to young audiences. He has coordinated enhancement programs for Spark and serves on Spark's program committee. He also enjoys the other half of MCT, Missoula Community Theater, as well as volunteering for the Missoula Food Bank and Empower Voices, a choir that provides musical theater performance opportunities to adults living with disabilities. Elaine Dolson, who's a former director of Very Special Arts and an Arts and Culture Award winner from years back, says this: Matt brings a fresh, energetic, and insightful approach to his teaching. He respects and understands the needs, fears, and challenges of his students. His ability to recognize and adapt the material to create success for students builds their confidence and enthusiasm to try new things. And Beth Frazee writes, Matt brings great joy to his work and gives the students the skills to share that joy. And that is the mark of a great teacher. I couldn't say it any better myself. Matt Loehrke.
Matt or Marc, either works up there, it was fine there. Thank you, Tom.
How did I do that?
I respond to anything as long as you try. That's all I ask. Thank you, Tom, for those kind words of introduction. A theater artist is not created by themselves, hardly at all. I stand here today thanks to the numerous influences I've had in my career. Teachers and mentors, directors and supervisors, casts and crews, family and friends, and of course the greatest teachers of all, our students. I am fortunate enough to have some of those people with me here today. My thanks to my colleagues over at this table here who represent just a small portion of our family at MCT. Together, we tirelessly provide theater to 65,000 students a year around the world. My thanks also to all our teaching artists, our Spark teaching artists, and theater artists, and dance artists, and songs, and music who bring arts to our classrooms every single day to our community. And my deepest gratitude to my amazing wife, Anna, for her patience, kindness, love, and encouragement. I would not be here if it were not for you. From the very beginning of my teaching career, I have been asked the same awful question time and time again. Why teach theater, especially children's theater, when you can make a living doing real theater? Once I choke down a few unkind words, I usually respond with a smile and a nod, explaining that I enjoy the aha moment and when students make a connection with their acting, or that sense of pride they have when they leave the stage for the first time. And for 17 years, I have used those answers. And while they have sufficed, they didn't feel 100% accurate. That was until about a month ago when we received what we affectionately call a love letter at MCT about one of our tour team's work. This is just a portion of this letter. My daughter is hobgoblin number 10. This may not seem like much, but the gift it is for her is amazing. You see, she has had many opportunities where she had to be brave. She was born in rural China with a serious heart condition. The orphanage where she lived did not have access to cardiac care. When we adopted her at the age of 2, she was dying. We landed in Seattle and went straight from the airport to the hospital for emergency open heart surgery. Since then, she has had 4 other surgeries. The last year, she was diagnosed with hip dysplasia and had 2 major surgeries and spent the past 6 weeks in a wheelchair after every procedure. MCT gave our daughter a chance to put herself out there and be brave. She got to choose to be brave this time. I know this is only a week-long process, but our little girl has dreamed of being on the stage for as long as we have known her. This play has given her the gift of stepping out in bravery to find confidence, joy, and a passion for theater. That letter came to us from Sisters, Oregon. Brave. What a wonderful world to describe the arts to a student. Just think about that. Theater has to be the most terrifying optional activity that any student could possibly do. There is no part of that that should sound appealing to a student. Long rehearsals, costumes and makeup, huge lights focused on you so that strangers in a dark room can watch you. Imagine what that endeavor must feel like for a new student in theater in the age of cyberbullying and social media, where their very person is on display for comment and critique for people in person and online. And yet, in the face of all those intimidating details, students still seek theater. It doesn't make sense. For our world, the world our students live in is wrought with aggressive division. Why? Why in the world full of strife and uncertainty would a student choose to bare their soul on stage through acting or designing or directing? The answer is clear. They get to choose to be brave. They get to choose to present and represent themselves in a manner that allows them to explore the human condition. They choose to be brave, and as Hobgoblin number 10 showed us, they choose bravery through the arts. So now when someone asks me, why do you teach theater, I no longer hide behind veiled deflections or pleasant compliments. I answer unapologetically, I teach theater so students can be brave. My congratulations to the other honorees for all they have done for our community. My thanks to Arts Missoula for this honor and for being steadfast in their advocacy for the arts. And finally, my gratitude to all of you in this room for instilling in every student you encounter that art thrives when they are brave, and when artists are brave, they can and will change the world. Thank you.
Well, I just said I apologize for that name change. Fortunately, yeah, I got it right on the hardware there, and that was good. The individual artist was first awarded in 2011 and is presented to someone who has shown exceptional achievement in either music, visual art, dance, film, theater, or literature. Corky Clairmont was nominated by Laura Millen. Corky Clairmont is a member of the Confederated Salish and Kootenai tribes. He earned his BSA from Montana State University and MA from California State University in Los Angeles. Since then, he's been a college professor, an administrator, and professional artist, as well as a tribal leader and advocate for the preservation of Native American culture. While living in Los Angeles, Corky pursued a contemporary exhibiting artist career, as well as teaching and becoming the department head of printmaking at the Otis Parsons Art Institute. Upon returning to Montana in 1984, he began administrative work at the newly credited Salish Kootenai College located in Pablo on the Confederate Salish and Kootenai Reservation. He developed the SKC Fine Arts Department and Art Degree program. Through his work as a printmaker, conceptual and installation artist, Corky's images discuss and explore the situations or issues that affect tribal people, such as sovereignty and colonization, giving a cultural and historical perspective. His artwork has been exhibited throughout the United States and in several countries, including China, Germany, Norway, New Zealand, France, and at the U.S. Embassy in Kinshasa in the Democratic Republic of Congo. He has received awards from the Ford Foundation, the National Endowment for the Arts, and he was honored in 2008 with the Montana Governor's Award for the Arts. He's also a dedicated teacher, and he has worked with students of all ages through western Montana, and as such is a great ambassador for Native American art, culture, and language. He has served on the state board of the Montana Arts Council for the past 10 years. He has spent some time, and he also spent some time visiting with National Endowment of the Arts Chair, Jane Chu. And there's a picture here in the lower left when she visited Montana a few years ago. His installation at the Missoula Art Museum in 2018 is one of the highlights of his career as an artist, titled Two-Headed Arrow, the Tar Sands Project. This addresses themes of environmental degradation and its effect on humans and wildlife through printmaking and performance. This took 4 years of work and features 30 colograph and relief prints and mixed media collages that make a strong commentary on the oil extraction and processing in Alberta. Through a mix of humor and traditional symbolism, the message is quite strong. And currently, I gather there's a publication in the works documenting this project. According to MAM Director Laura Millen, he has worked tirelessly to strengthen and promote tribal culture and art in general, both within the reservation and statewide. He's an artist, he's a teacher, he's an administrator, and something you learn very quickly in conversation, he's a man of great wisdom. Corky Clairmont.
So I would have to follow somebody in theater. I don't consider myself quite so animated, but it's a great privilege to be here. And it's good to see old friends and supporters. And, I was not prepared to say a lot of things. But I would like to speak of the arts in general. Arts, through the arts, is about the only way that can really express who we are as human beings. We don't have other means to do that except really through the arts. And so they're vital absolutely vital to communities. And the arts, in a sense, are like taking really good vitamins, that help strengthen us. Because without the arts, I don't know if we could really do things, with good hearts. And it does take a community, to support the arts. And it's really gratifying to see everybody here today, because I'm assuming you're all really supportive of the arts. And I really appreciate Laura Millen for nominating me, for this award. I've worked with the Missoula Art Museum for many years, and I've seen some terrific exhibits there. And it's a contemporary art museum, so that's important, because through the contemporary arts, you're talking about things of today, contemporary things of today. And it's especially important for tribal people to be a part of contemporary art, because it reminds you that we're alive and well today, and we have thriving communities that are very vital. And we have a lot of things inside of us and a history that we can share through the arts. I keep thinking of our ancestors, of course, who have been here for thousands and thousands of years. It's considered 10,000 or more years. We were right here. You can't go outside and walk around without stepping in the place that our ancestors walked. So for our tribal communities, that's something we cherish and we respect. And we owe a great deal to them. And we look at 10,000 years, as when we look back, but that should give us precedent that then it's our obligation to take it forward another 10,000 years. So that's, in a sense, what arts can assist in that process, is because it demonstrates the spirit of people and the spirit of who we are. And we can communicate with one another easily through the arts. You don't have to speak a different language or their language, but we can look at maybe something that they have created through the arts, or we can see a play, we can hear the music, we can hear their actual spirits or souls, through the arts. And so diversity is so important, to embrace. And diversity is what keeps us whole and healthy. I like to compare that with forests. You look out into our forests, and you see all kinds of trees out there of different types and nature, and they're all different. And it's a reminder that they're different because that's the way it has to be. If they were all the same, and you had something come through, like a bad insect or virus or something, that starts attacking the trees, if they were all the same, what would happen? They'd all die off. There wouldn't be anything left. But because of the diversity, there will be those that survive and continue to grow and nourish, and they support all the other life around them too. And that's the strength of diversity. We all are here for a purpose, and we have to recognize that and embrace that as human beings. Otherwise, we're not going to make it as human beings. The animals, they understand this automatically, and for tribal people, and and other indigenous peoples. You know, this is how we learn what we need to do too, is through observation and through the animals and through the stories and legends that have been passed down to us. And everybody here, it doesn't matter where you come from, your culture, you all have your stories. And it's good to embrace those and learn from those, and because you're honoring those that brought you to this point. And it's good to understand that. So it gives you a little more strength, you know, in the footsteps you have yet to take. And I would also like to give gratitude for Linda King. She's my other half that keeps me looking good. This is some of her beauty here. So as you get older, we do need more bling. But I would like to again thank Montana Arts, you know, for their organization and their goals. Their goals is to keep a healthy place for us to live, and they're doing a great job. And all the other recipients, you know, the awards, those the past recipients and those that are receiving the awards today, congratulations and great job, Matt. Right? Or Marc, no, Matt. But I really enjoyed the presentation, and you have made a difference here. And I know all the people here that will be receiving awards and have made a difference here today. And I know I'm leaving off a lot of stuff, but it's Shea Hoy, Lynch. Thank you.
The Business Support for the Arts Awards was first awarded in 2004, honors local businesses that have made a significant contributions to Missoula's art and cultural organizations. This year, we honor Kimberly Roth of Missoula's Merrill Lynch, nominated by Melissa Blunt. Kimberly has played an integral role in Missoula's culture for many years. I first got to know Kimberly in 1999 when I was director of First Night Missoula, and she was the marketing director at Southgate Mall. First Night was trying to expand beyond the downtown and found a willing partner in the mall. And since then, and to this day, we open our event every December 31st with a children's parade of hats at the JCPenney Court Stage. During her time there, she also oversaw the initial Southgate Mall Elementary School art show, which involves numerous schools in Missoula and the Bitterroot, and also continues to this day, later this month, as a matter of fact, at the mall. It is a great showcase for the importance of art education, and is also a great boost for the students, the parents, and the mall itself. She also coordinated during that time the hallways to history that is still on display. If you haven't seen it, go there. I couldn't find any digital pictures of the display, so you'll have to go there yourself. It's on the way to the administrative offices and the bathrooms at Southgate Mall, and I guarantee you'll spend a lot of time looking at the historic photographs. She moved from her position from the mall to Merrill Lynch some years ago, and is now the Senior Regional Director and Senior Vice President of the Missoula branch. She personally and professionally supports many arts projects and organizations, specifically the Missoula Symphony Association, the International Choral Festival, A Carousel for Missoula, Dolce Canto, First Night Missoula, and events at the University of Montana. She's also served on the board of this organization when it was called the Missoula Cultural Council, as well as she's been president of the Missoula Symphony Association. And she was president, and there at the beginning, of Destination Missoula, when it was called the Missoula Convention and Visitors Bureau. And I gather she's back on the board now. She has also served for 12 years on the board of Big Brothers Big Sisters and has provided great support for the American Heart Association and their Go Red for Women campaign. Kimberly is a consummate professional. Business people get asked all the time for assistance from Missoula's many nonprofits, and our local businesses are quite generous. Through her work both at Southgate Mall and now with Merrill Lynch, Kimberly Roth has well represented our generous business community. I'm pleased to present the Business Support for the Arts Award to Kimberly Roth.
This is amazing. It's such an honor to be up here. I learned from when I was a child through my mother to appreciate arts and culture. As all parents, your moms try to find out what your talents may be. And after several musical instruments, we landed on the accordion. And at my first recital, there was 12 of us. 10 received ribbons, and myself and a young little boy received a plastic accordion pin. And I was very proud because I thought it was a piece of jewelry. And the little boy not so much, nor my mother at the time, that I'm sure politically correct didn't appreciate that her daughter got a plastic pin and not a ribbon around like the other kids. So after the accordion, we expanded to dance. The Art Link letter van would pick me up every Tuesday and Thursday, and after 6 months, the ballet teacher reached out to me and asked if my mother could find another physical venue for me. So what she did do is she sat me down and said, "We're going to learn about culture." And living down in, I'm from Whitefish, Montana, but living down in L.A. So she did. She brought me to every art museum. We went to ballets. We went to musicals. We went to the Huntington Museum in Pasadena, which I don't know if many of you know, but it has 2 amazing art museums and gardens, just art gardens all over. And so where I didn't have a specific talent, my mother truly taught me the importance of culture and art and what it brought to my heart. And so when Danielle, my daughter, and I moved back to Missoula, it was so amazing to find this plethora of just, I'm going to say just blooming art and culture. When I saw Marc's initial presentation, so many of the organizations that were so small back then in the early 90s and where you're at now is just amazing. And the support from businesses and the support now from the city and the county. We wouldn't be here without that. One of my, to be on the symphony board, my daughter, she'd seen, being down in LA, we saw Phantom of the Opera 7 times. When she was 6 years old, she and her friend Katie could stand on our bar, and we would put lights on, and they could sing every word, and they did it frequently, of the musical score. And so when we got here, the first thing we did was we went to an afternoon symphony for the Missoula Symphony. It was at the Wilma, and of course we got all decked out, totally, big fancy stuff. When we walked into the lobby, and there's folks in Birkenstocks and T-shirts, and my niece and my daughter turned and looked at me, and they're like, "Really?" So, but I was just amazed at the talent. It was just amazing. So I tracked John Driscoll down, who was the executive director at that time, and I said, "You don't know me. And I don't know, I couldn't read a piece of music if you set my hair on fire. But however, you need me." And he goes, "Okay." And so I started to go down, and my first thing was, Joseph Henry is standing on a black wooden box that's chipped. And I said, that man, he's your conductor. I want to, you know, and so I go into this big thing, and he's sitting there and he's rolling his eyes, I know. And I'm starting to critique everything that we need to do to elevate the Missoula Symphony up in my one time of watching them. The next thing I knew, I was on the board asking the ownership of Southgate Mall at that time to purchase this fancy new podium with, you know, whatever for John, for Joseph, you know, and it was a wonderful experience. And to get to know Joseph Henry was amazing. And one quick funny story was Jim and Marcy, you know, we would have the year-end events with the board and people, and we were at the press box, which Joseph didn't even know where it was. And I said, we're going to have a little buffet, and then we're going to have karaoke, Joseph, afterwards. And I'm talking to him on the phone, and I said, I thought you and I could do a karaoke song. And he goes, okay. And I said, why don't we go as Sonny and Cher? And he said, who's Sonny and Cher? So, I mean, I just have, you know, and being associated with the Missoula Cultural Council, you know, and the sister cities, Marc Martin at that time just had this amazing passion for the sister cities, and he was just tenacious on getting that program. So it's been wonderful, you know, working. I've been very blessed to be associated with businesses that supported the arts. The ownership at that time of Southgate Mall, you know, the hallways to history. We did a remodel, and, you know, we did a focus group, and women were afraid to walk down the halls because they were kind of stark. And so I wanted to put art up and down all of the 3 huge hallways, and our insurance company wouldn't let us do it because they were afraid that they were going to be vandalized. And so I went to the archivist at the University of Montana, and I said, how do we turn history of Missoula into a piece of artwork? And so it took us a year, and the owners were so embracive of it. It was just to frame and mat and print those 100 pieces of pictures was $150,000, and the ownership didn't blink. And one of the biggest pieces of pride I get was I would walk through during the lunch hour, and I would see the truck drivers from Pepsi or Coke or UPS or FedEx. They would come to the mall every day, buy a hot dog or a piece of pizza, and start off, you know, looking at pictures, reading the history of Missoula. They'd come back the next day and start where they left off and they still do it now. So, I mean, those are amazing, amazing things. So, for as much as I appreciate this honor, I really should and will always continue to honor this community. I've been so blessed, and the cultural part is there aren't words to explain what you've done for me, so thank you.
Cultural Vision Award is presented to a person or organization that has developed a special project or program demonstrating a unique artistic vision. This year, we honor Marc Moss, founder and creator of Tell Us Something, nominated by Christy Hager. Marc was professionally trained as an English teacher, grades 7 through 12 in Ohio. And after he received certification, he went on to teach in what he calls the world's best classroom, Yellowstone National Park, as a seasonal ranger naturalist, telling the stories of geothermals there, the ecology and history of the area. After moving to Missoula in 2003, he experienced formal storytelling for the first time in a live event called Eat Our Words at the Pease Farm, and later pushed beyond his comfort zone to share his own personal story at a live storytelling event called Missoula Moth at the Badlander in January of 2011. Marc took over Missoula Moth in the fall of 2011 and tightened up the format, changing the name to something a little more inviting and inclusive. Tell us something. The first Tell Us Something event occurred at the Missoula Art Museum at one of their Artini events to an audience of 75 people. He then moved to the old Top Hat Lounge, settling on the slowest night of the week, Tuesday, to hold quarterly events. There were about 150 people in attendance the first night, and for the first 4 years, the event was free, and people began arriving at 3 p.m. to get a seat for the 6 p.m. show. Eventually, with the encouragement of Top Hat and Wilma owner Nick Chakota, Marc nervously moved Tell Us Something to the Wilma Theater and began selling tickets in advance. All of the events of 2018 were sold out, as was the opening event in 2019. Now Tell Us Something is proud to be offering one-on-one workshops for people, groups, nonprofits, and corporations. Marc guides a week-long summer intensive storytelling summer camp for youth at Zootown Community Arts Center each summer. Marc also teaches storytelling at the Missoula County Public Schools as part of the Spark Initiative. So here it is in a nutshell. When ordinary people share their stories, they inspire listeners in a mutually empathetic and creative way. Marc helps them shape their stories in a safe and supportive workshop before going on stage. Audience members are moved by the stories and by the participants' simple act of going on stage to tell them. Next time, some of those audience members are now on the stage. Ordinary folks, not major celebrities. This event regularly sells out the Wilma is a tribute to Marc's vision and skills at curating and choreographing live hometown storytelling into a don't-miss-it event for all ages at a major venue. He has worked with the Montana State Parks, recorded at the Brunswick Gallery's 40th anniversary, and led corporate storytelling workshops for businesses. He has a YouTube channel, a regular podcast on Montana Public Radio, and has taken Tell Us Something to Helena and Butte. And as you can see, he's got a lot of nice photographs about the people who've participated. According to Christy Hager, he has discovered and built a community eager to tell and hear authentic stories that reflect our own lives. He believes in our community is stronger when we listen to each other. He is dedicated to being a catalyst for others and to be heard and empowered through the art of telling their story. And this is art at its essence. Not simply a performance piece, it is an act that it exposes our vulnerability, and in doing so creates a strong connection between performer and audience. This art form makes us more understanding of each other, our strengths, our foibles, and our personal issues. And all of that makes us better people. That's a great vision. Marc Moss.
Thanks, Tom. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I tell the storytellers at Tell Us Something never to write anything down. And I wrote a whole bunch of things down that I'm not going to talk about. There are too many people to thank for how Tell Us Something came to be, and I can't thank them all. I would like to thank Joyce Gibbs, my wife. She can't be here today. Her mom got her hip replaced this morning, so Joyce is doing one of the things she does best, and she's caretaking. I want to thank my advisory board over the years. They have been instrumental in helping me make decisions and cheer me on when I don't know what to do or if I'm getting burnt out. June of last year, Tell Us Something sold out, and I had a woman come up to me on the street asking me desperately, "Do you have any tickets left?" And I said, "No, it's sold out." That's what sold out means. There's no tickets left. And she said, "Well, I hope I can find tickets. I want to get in, but I want to give you a couple of letters, and read them when you get a chance." One is for Victoria Gannon, who told a story in December of 2017. I said, "Thanks, I hope you get in," and I put them in my pocket, and I went inside, and I continued doing the things that I have to do to make the night happen. And after I introduced the first storyteller and that person was out sharing their story, I can't hear anything backstage very clearly, and so I'm doing the social media things that need to happen, and then I start to read the letter. She said the winter of 2017 was very hard for her, and all she wanted to do was jerk the wheel as she went across the bridge into the Clark Fork. She said she heard Victoria Gannon's story about surviving sexual assault in the military, and she went home and wrote in her journal until dawn, sobbing more than she ever had. She went to her psychologist the next day and read everything she had written. She said, "Storytelling saved my life. When I can't go on anymore, when I'm burnt out, when I don't want to edit audio, which I have to do this afternoon to get the podcast out, I get that letter out and I read it and I'm reminded that storytelling does save lives. In the simple act of sharing our stories and listening to other people's stories, we become better people, we become more empathetic, we can change our community, we can change our world. And that is why I do what I do. And I'm so grateful to everyone who makes it possible. Thank you. I'm so very honored to be here today to accept this award. I'm so grateful to all of you. Thank you very much.
The Cultural Ambassador is given to an individual or couple who has supported Missoula's arts community or helped to advance cultural diplomacy through volunteer, administrative, philanthropic, professional, or legislative efforts. Despite the name change, this is the original award given out by Arts Missoula. And this year we honor Marc Thane, Superintendent of MCPS for the past 4 years and part of MCPS for the past 39 years. We want to thank him for all he's done to support arts education in Missoula. He's nominated by Karen Kaufman and Julie Robitaille. Marc is a Missoula guy. Born here, started in kindergarten, graduated from Hellgate, here. 4 years later, graduated from the University of Montana, right here, with an education degree, then became a classroom teacher at Meadow Hill, and steadily moved up the line as principal of Target Range Elementary, C.S. Porter Middle, and Chief Charlo Elementary, and then as MCPS Regional Executive Director and Executive Director of Human Resources and Labor Relations. In 2015, he became superintendent, all right here. He never left. His community engagement has included board service with the YMCA, Swim Missoula, Young Audiences of Western Montana, the United Way, the Missoula Economic Partnership, Missoula Education Foundation, and National Science Foundation Noyce Lab T program at UM. He's also a member of the UM Grizzlies football chain gang and is on the field for most home games. But the reason we're talking about him today is his support for the arts. He's been a powerful voice in arts education, as an original member of the community arts team that created Spark. He's been a member of the Spark governing board since its inception and has constantly advocated for this initiative, securing district funding for the elementary school program in his first year. He's also been instrumental in securing funding for Spark from local businesses. Marc supports students who go beyond the curriculum by working with other school administrators so these students are able to perform at special events. As the district's top administrator, he's advocated for a continued focus on music education through support for the district's bands, choirs, and orchestras, and by providing professional development to music educators. He was honored in October of 2018 as the first ever recipient of the Montana Music Educators Association's Outstanding School Administrator Award. The previous spring, he was named Regional Superintendent of the Year by Western Montana Association of School Superintendents. And as you can see, he also has the ear of a former Montana music teacher who now serves as our senior senator in Washington. In a Missoulian article from earlier this year, Marc stated, "I can't emphasize enough the importance of the arts. Not only do the arts enhance our culture in Missoula, but I think really serve to augment instruction to help us reach students that we might not reach through other teaching methods or modalities." Needless to say, we'll all miss Marc's presence at MCPS as he is retiring this June. I may be wrong, but I think he'll continue to stay right here. Truly, Marc is a great ambassador for arts and culture in Missoula. Marc Thane.
We all know it takes a village, and as the arts are concerned, Missoula is quite a village. And I know I don't need to say that to those of you in the audience today, but I consider myself so incredibly fortunate to have lived and grown in a community that values the arts, and to have the opportunity to spend my 39-year career in education in a school system that places a priority on the arts. And I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge some individuals that are in the room today. John Combs is our fine arts supervisor, and he's supported by Lydia Elrod. And the amazing programs that our students can access in Missoula are a tribute not only to them, but to all the educators that support the arts in the Missoula community. And I'm really honored, but I'm also humbled because I know that there are so many individuals deserving of recognition. And Tom did a great job, I think, of articulating early on the variety of the arts programs that are available in Missoula and that we as a community support. And he referenced Spark. And Spark is a collective impact project, and Sienna Solberg is here as our director. And I think it illustrates for us very well what the arts mean to this community and how we as a school district can respond. And as a collective impact project, a number of entities came together 5 years ago. We had the City of Missoula, we had the University of Montana, we have Arts Missoula, and we have Missoula County Public Schools. And that was supported by the Dennis and Phyllis Washington Foundation. And we were able to submit an application to become recognized as an Any Given Child city. And as a result, we benefited from extensive professional development from the Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts. Probably the smallest city and one of only 16 cities in the nation at that time to participate in the Any Given Child initiative. And that afforded us the opportunity to provide professional development to staff so that not only could we continue to advance the arts opportunities that we so proudly support in our school district, but could teach our teachers how to use art as a modality to teach other content, to make that content come alive through a teaching methodology that was very different than many of the traditional methods that we've used. And I know that thousands of students in Missoula have benefited from that collective impact work. And so I'm very grateful to have had the opportunity really to go along for the ride, because it's been the collective capacity of my colleagues at Missoula County Public Schools and the teaching staff, as well as our community partners who've made that happen for the students of Missoula. So again, I'd like to acknowledge my wife Mary and my colleagues from MCPS. I am truly honored, but again, this is reflective of the collective capacity of our community and our school district, and it's truly on their behalf that I accept this award. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Well, that wraps it up, but we have one more thing we have to do, and that is the door prize. Thanks, everybody, for filling this out.